Thanks for checking out this video. Please watch this video in its entirety before initiating a purchase. My products focus on functionality, affordability, and durability over aesthetics, so please watch all the way through and make sure the product I offer is a good fit for your expectations. If you watch this after your purchase and decide it is not a good fit, I will happily refund your money in full and cancel your order. To begin, you'll need to remove your old tank. The hardest part of the process is removing the hose clamps underneath the hull that connect the oil tank filler cap to the tank itself. Remove the filler and the tank. You will likely find that your tank is already cracked or cracking. The drive size for the clamps on the filler neck are 8mm, and you can use a 13mm socket to remove the special fasteners that attach the tank to the back of the engine bay. You will not be reusing the special fasteners. The oil tank comes with the sight glass fittings and tube pre-installed, as well as the two lower fittings. You will need to transfer the oil level sensor to the new tank. Discard the old grommet from the sensor. Put the new grommet over the sensor, then install the new grommet with the sensor inside it to the tank. Once the grommet is seated, press the sensor through the grommet and point the unused nipple downward towards the engines. I found that shortening the filler neck by a 1/4 inch made it easier to reconnect the filler neck to the hull fitting. You should try fitting the tank without cutting first. If you do find that it is easier to get it mated by cutting, don't cut any more than a 1/4 inch. Please measure and do not guess. I found it was much easier to install the hose to the tank before installing the tank inside the hull. You can much more easily twist the hose filler neck on the tank than you can try to align the filler neck from the fitting in the hull to the tank. It's also difficult to push the two together, so put the filler neck on the tank first before attempting to install. So once you get it in here, you're going to part of the reason for putting that hose on first is it's just not possible to get that. I wasn't able to get the hose started on the fittings and in the hull. It just gives you some more wiggle room, and then you're also going to want to pull the oil cap off to get the chain out from dangling in the way. And then I'm just going to kind of shimmy this on here, get it over the lower hole first, but not on it. And then you can you just sort of have to wrestle it into place. And then, if you paid attention to the assembly instructions, the drive side of those clamps is going to be facing out. So, it's now sitting on all the studs out of the back of the seat. We've got our stainless nylocks, and we're going to start the two on the flanges that aren't cut, and we'll put the one on the cut flange last. You can use an 11mm for this. I'm primarily a metric garage. All the whole stuff is standard for a large part. Get yourself some longer extensions. It'll make it easier to get on that bottom connection. But go ahead and run the tank mount bolts down this piece of foam to make this one difficult to start. Let's see if it's easier to start from up here. Yeah, way easier to start from up here. That's one of the things is, depending on your dominant hand, I'm right hand dominant, it's really kind of crazy how much easier it can be to access things from one side versus another. And if you've got a nice interior, definitely recommend putting some towels down and stuff. This is a test mule so it's kind of just grody. We run it aground and do all kinds of terrible things to it. But the miles per gallon are very high. And I actually boogered this top stud up while I was figuring out what it would take to get these tanks in here. So I'll show in the video what the stock shape is. So here's the model for the tanks. As you can see, they pretty much line up with everything except for this front face. Just trying to decrease the complexity of this. That front face goes back. Part of why I did that too was this fitting. The fitting is just a little bit close to that corner, but I think it's worth it to try and do that so that this part up here doesn't have to be trimmed off. But yeah, this is a high resolution scan. This is decimated for use in SolidWorks. But yeah, if you've got any ideas for parts, other stuff, you know, a lot of my designs start as scan data. So cars, boats, airplanes, you let me know. And then how these came in, they fit. It's possible to get them in here, as you can tell. It's a little bit challenging, but you can get them in here, and it's secure. So you have to use that new bushing that came with these. The old one just will not work. And yeah, that's about it. I think we're gonna get all this plumbed back up. Yeah, all we gotta do is put the little lines on the bottom. And again, this is a 1/2 inch fitting. I know these are metric, but if you want to get a different size fitting, these are 1/4 inch NPT. So you live your best life. Don't let anybody tell you what to do. So to get those worm drive clamps tight, up top, a ratcheting or stubby 8 is a good way to get at those. And then you're not going to reuse these long reach 1/4 20 fasteners. You're going to use the Matlock flange nuts that come with the stuff that I provide. Probably the worst part. I'm going to rotate the hose around to fit onto this fill plug while you get it in there. And there's no good way to do this. If it sucks, you're doing it right. Probably get away with only tightening the hose clamp on the tank, but that is not how they came from the factory. So yeah, again, this is the worst part. Again, if you're struggling with this part, that means you're doing it right, because it sucks. I think that might be the move for reinstalling them. Reinstalling the one on the whole fitting, I think, is to come through here with a bunch of extensions get on it that way. And it's all the way in. You know, it's not that comfortable, but it's not that bad. I hadn't actually fully installed this yet. I just kind of figured out the fittings that I needed. You got your sight line here for your oil level, and then your stock warning sensor float level still goes in. This corner comes out further than the stock tank. There's an extra bend right here. I'll probably be adding that because in order to get this in the hull, you end up actually having to cut this top flange off. So when you see those cut off in the pictures, that's why. It's not possible to get this in the hull past this. So these are what's available now. There's a slight discount. It'll be a little bit more expensive when we do the next revision, which will include this additional flat here, additional bend. I was just trying to simplify these so they were easier to make, and turns out I think for these to truly be like, to have that flange all the way at the top up there, it's really going to take adding that corner there so you can get on right here. So that's it. If you got any questions, shoot me a message. And there are only 5 of these, so when those 5 are gone, it's probably gonna be another month at least, probably 45 days until that next batch with the revision up here comes in, and that price is going to increase a little bit because these have just ended up being a lot more expensive to make a product than I thought they would be. So I just want to stress that if you're not okay with this being cut off with a hacksaw and ground by hand with a flap wheel, and this being cut off and then ground with a flap wheel by hand, do not buy these. You being happy is just as important to me as making the sale. It's actually more important. I don't want to deal with somebody that's pissed off in a bad mood. So if you don't like this, you're not okay with some backyard stuff on these first tanks that are a little cheaper, don't buy them. I do not want to hear complaints. So you're being fully informed. I don't want to hear complaints about that. This is your notice. These are cut off right here. This is all that the vendor was able to source. They're too long. I'm going to create a modification drawing for these. And then this up here won't be an issue on the next tank because I'm going to add that extra flat here that's not present. So again, if you don't like that there's some handwork on these and that the welds aren't perfect, and there may be dents, dings, and scratches places, don't buy them. These are not a show product. They're not polished. If you want a show version of this, there's plenty of vendors in the United States that will make this for me locally here in Tennessee. But you can expect to spend $1,000 plus. Lead time's like 3-4 weeks. So if you want one of these made in the United States, it's like Instagram, SEMA worthy welds, you let me know. You pay for it up front and you wait for it 4 weeks and I'll get it to you. But these are functionally perfect. They're tested to 5 PSI and they work great. They fit in the boat fine, and way stronger than stock. You don't have to worry about filling them up. So love to make the sale. If you're gonna bitch about cosmetics, do not buy it. I hope you appreciated my customer vetting process and hope to have one of my tanks installed in your boat. These little guys sure are fun and tough. Love these little 14-foot jet boats. Bigger guys too. So if you've got any questions, you know what to do.